Meeting called to order. Today is Thursday, May 8th. West Warwick Town Council acting as a sewer commission. West Warwick Town Hall, 1170 Main Street, West Warwick, Rhode Island. Jay, lead some prayer.
We ask for the wisdom to make good decisions, to speak with confidence and listen with compassion, and to work together to create a better way of life for the people of West Warwick. Amen.
Jay, listen to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trying not to smile.
I
was smiling.
All the people that complain that I go too fast.
Roll call. Council President Goslin.
Here.
Council Vice President Williamson.
Here.
Councilman Messier.
Here.
Councilman Licciardi.
Here.
Councilman Dennison.
Here.
Participating communities: Town of Coventry, Town of Situate, City of Cranston, City of Warwick, Town of West Greenwich. Quorum is declared. New business, resolution SC 2025-17, consideration and adoption of the FY 26 wastewater treatment facility budget.
The resolution.
Moving second. Just want to give a brief overview on what we're expecting from a increase in.
Sure.
Just for the public's knowledge.
Absolutely. This budget requests a rate increase from $4.65 per 100 cubic feet to $4.80 per 100 cubic feet. Bills shall be calculated on 90% of water consumption at the property instead of 80% of water consumption. The minimum consumption used for billing purposes will be decreased from 4,000 cubic feet to 3,800 cubic feet. Well users shall be charged $480 annually for sewer usage charges. Debt service charges shall remain $120 per equivalent dwelling unit. As that translates into bills, the minimum user will see a decrease in their bill of approximately $4 per year. The average user will see an increase of approximately $52 per year. Well users will see an increase of $15 per year. And a large property such as Royal Mills will see a decrease of $900 per year. There was one change, Council. I sent you an updated budget resolution earlier. There was one addition to the superintendent was asked by the town manager and the council vice president to look at Coupa's commercial user pretreatment application fees for small businesses such as, well, for businesses that don't have a significant impact on the system, such as realtor offices, attorney offices, basically any business that has a toilet and a sink. There's no chemicals being stored at the property. It's just pretty much straightforward. We're proposing a lower application fee for those businesses of $100 as opposed to the $300 that's charged to larger businesses that store chemicals and have more of an impact on the sewer system. That was included in your updated budget resolution. That does not negatively impact next year's revenue projection. I factored that in when you received the budget about a month ago.
Any questions for Tony? Any public comment?
Tony, if I just want to make sure that I understand that, because there was a lot of talk about EDUs, that we didn't increase the EDU charge, but there still is an EDU charge. Is that
That's correct. There is still an EDU charge. It's remaining $120 per EDU. As you said, Councilwoman, it's not being increased. The cost of the new bond is now reflected in that $4.80 rate, that 15-cent increase.
And that was.
And the 90% being charged on 90% of water usage instead of 80%. So the people that use more water will pay more.
And that's what I think our goal was.
Yes,
That
but
helps.
that's what we asked them to do, go back and.
That helps smaller families, that helps senior citizens that don't use as much water. So thank you for that hard work and getting that new rate. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Jay?
Yes.
Jason? Yes. Mark?
Yes.
Mary Beth?
Yes,
And I vote. Budget is passed. Assume.
and thank you very much for the work that was done. I know you guys put a lot of time and effort into it,
You're
so
welcome. Thank
Josh
you.
and Jeff and.
I know you took it to heart after my, the first meeting, and I thank you for doing that. And I know you worked hard at Jeff and the department for all our time on the solution. You're welcome. Now I need, public comment. Hearing none.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Go right in.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Thank
Meeting called to order. Today is Thursday, May 8th. It is now 5:38 PM. Town Council meeting with Town Council chambers, 1170 Main Street, West Warwick, Rhode Island.
Roll call, Councilman Dennison,
Here.
Councilman Lichardi,
Here.
Councilman Messier.
Here.
Council Vice President Williamson.
Here.
Council President Goslin.
Here.
Quorum is declared. Discussion action, consideration of interest rate on delinquent taxes.
Again, we brought this up during our budget time. I think right now we're at 12%. And we talked about moving that back up to a certain percentage. Refresh my memory, I know.
There was
We
just no
drew
way
out
to
16, we
count it.
drew out 18.
15 or 18,
What's the council's pleasure on that? Do we want to keep it the same? Do we want to increase it?
What's the exact rate right now?
12%.
Which is the rate that the state uses. Correct.
But he was-
Well,
Thought they
on
used 18.
cases, no, they use 12, I think it's 1% of what. I don't know about on taxes, but
right,
in the court system, that's what's used.
okay.
So I brought that up, and the reasoning behind it was, we were talking about where we need, whether it's extra revenue or to find money to cut something. So I looked at that, kind of, when you were talking about EDUs, is the people that are responsible should have to pay versus everybody else. So I do understand that if people are delinquent, for some, it's just not paying it. And Rose, I'm sure you hear it all. Some of them just not paying it, some I can't pay it, which I totally understand. I understand. I'm very familiar with that. Some people, you get sick, you have stuff happens, something's gonna go, I'm late on my taxes. I get it. If it's not, it's something I think we should keep maybe in the back of our minds in the future. That if that gets out of hand and it starts to affect the people that do pay their taxes on time, then we should look at maybe increasing that. Right now, I don't think we should.
I would agree with that. I don't think there's a need to do it right now. It's something to hold, and if people are abusing
Yeah.
on the system, then there should be consequences, but I wouldn't change it at this point, to be honest with you.
That being said, want to take no action?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, no action?
No action.
Jay, no action? No action.
Public hearing and vote on the adoption of general fund budget for fiscal year 2026 from July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026, in the amount of $125,348,771.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second, discussion? Just want to go over brief numbers so the public is aware of.
So that would be a 3.07% increase on the levy, but a 1.73% increase in the tax rate. The average mean of the household value in West Warwick now went up about 35%. 3 years ago, or actually a year ago, it was 260,709. Now it's 350,820. When you calculate the tax out on that, that would be about $140 increase per household for a mean house of 350,000. And
Who would have thought that the mean household would be worth $350,000?
Welcome to the market.
Exactly. And I think in Rhode Island, it's actually like 440.
our net assessed values increased by 35%, over $1 billion with this last statistical revamp. So,
Sounds worth over $1 million.
well, it's the 4 billion,
Yeah, it went up
4
Went up
billion, 1 billion, correct.
crazy, crazy numbers.
So if you ever sold West Warwick, is the next 4 billion?
Give Warwick a call.
Let's give Warwick a
Right,
call.
not now, but yes, yeah.
Just want to give us 4 billion.
Yep.
Any questions or comments for everybody, actually, who's been involved?
Sorry, maybe I wasn't paying attention. I know you said 1.73. What is the tax rate for?
14.29
Thank you.
for residential.
So for public, take your valuation of your house, multiply it by 0.1429,
Single family.
single family.
That's the multi-family.
So you can see roughly what you'll be paying for in taxes.
So
Some will go up, some will go down, some will stay the same.
you family, 2263.
Any questions? Any comments? I want to say thank you to department heads, the employees, town manager, finance director, the council. We had a lot of tough discussions had this budget season. You know, not everybody got what they wanted or how they wanted it, but we got under 2% to that 1.73. There's very little to cut. And if you do cut, it's cutting some services or slow some services down. So I think we continue as a council to, as leadership here, continue keeping West Warwick affordable the best we can. School department too, they did the best they can with what they have and the situations that are going on. And it's not just a situation in West Warwick, it's a situation in Rhode Island. So, again, thank you to everybody who worked hard in this process. I know it's a grueling 4, 5, 6 months for the council. I know it's a grueling year because as far as Mark and Karen go, they stop as soon as the budget season ends, the new budget kicks in. So they're already working on next year's budget. So thank you for everything you guys have done and keep up the good work, and hopefully we can be in a good place next year at this time.
Yeah, I'd like to echo those sentiments. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into this and I certainly appreciate, and I know the council does, the thoughtfulness and realizing that we don't want to overburden the people who live here in West Warwick. And that was obvious that you understand that as you brought forward your suggestions to the town manager. And Mark, thank you for all the work. Kristen, thank you for, I know you had some of those meetings and some difficult ones, but I appreciate it because I do know that it does take quite a bit. And we're in a place where some communities are not fortunate enough to be. So the collaboration with the schools and the unions and department heads, I think we should be proud of what we've done this year.
Any other comment? Any public comment? I'll take a roll call vote. Jay?
I'm gonna vote no with an explanation. Not trying to be the thorn. It really has nothing to do with the tax increase or anything like that. I think everybody's done a good job last year in creating that over $1 million surplus, because I know that came from a lot of different places. And the reason I'm voting no is, and I've been going round and round in my head for the last month and a half about this, is people voted on a budget. Not many people came out. That's why we're here. But the people that voted for the budget, you know, some people talked to me and said, we voted for the budget that you wanted. And for whatever reason, there's a hell of a surplus. And now you want more. Well, we gave you that money so you could spend because that's what we needed. And now, whether it's a 1%, 2%, 3% increase, you want more, but you already have that $1 million that we allocated to. So when do we get that back? And I'm trying to wrap around in my head, you know, I understand the whole fiscal responsibility and what we should do, but we have whatever $1 million or so, and we're definitely gonna make interest on that. We're gonna put it away and it's gonna keep growing, but that's still the people's money. And I don't see why we can't give a portion of that back to the people to further lessen the burden I'm not looking at a solid number of 100 or 500, whatever it is. I'm looking to get it to, again, I'm not even thinking of a number. But I think some of that money should go back to the people. And that's why I'm voting no.
Thank you. Jay?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Mary Beth?
Yes, and if I may, just to touch on the surplus issue, there is a report that is prepared by the Office of the Auditor General. And it's actually, the one that was issued just recently is for the years 2019. It's a trend analysis, 2019 through 2023. And we are light years ahead of where we were 8 years ago. You know, I heard $230,000 in surplus, and Kristen said we actually were in the negative, so we had a deficit. But when we look at where we stand in relation to other communities, and where I know that my comfort level would be, we have about $7 million in surplus at this point in time, or as of the end of last year, last fiscal year. That's not a lot of money. I know it sounds like a lot of money, but that's one bad event or one bad turn away from, that equates to 7.8% of our unrestricted fund balance, as opposed to the general fund expenditures and other financing. That is third from the bottom in the state. The highest is 41.34, and the average is somewhere around 20%. So I hear what you're saying, I understand what you're saying, but I think we have a responsibility to continue to build that should we have a catastrophic event, which is certainly possible. And we know how quickly those things can happen. So I understand and appreciate what you're saying, but I just wanted to put a little color on that. And in case I didn't say it, I vote yes.
And for I vote, the same thing, as Mary Beth you said, basically, we're one lawsuit away from that surplus. You know, that 1 million.
I understand all that.
So we gotta look at that, we gotta look at as that, and that's, and I pondered going back and forth too, because we're all up here, we're seeing the same increase as anybody else. We're all gonna see a tax increase up here. You know, and all of us are taxpayers up here, so we have to look at it on both sides. I mean, what I want people to understand is, when we're making this decision, we're not just taking this as a council, we're taking this as taxpayers ourselves. So with that being said, I'm gonna vote yes this year. So it's 4-1. This is our first supermajority public council vote on a budget in many years. Normally, in the past, at least the last 10-ish, we would pass the budget here and bring it up to the Hill and let them listen, let the taxpayers and the voters listen to the budget, and then we'd have an all-day referendum. That's no longer, that's been changed by last year's vote, and this is the new process, and supermajority voted yes. Thank you.
And just to so we're at 7.8%. Cranston is at 7.64. Providence is at 5.28. I don't know what Cranston's tax increase is going to be or not be this year, but I certainly do know what Providence's is going to be, because they actually have asked for %.
They're asking for 8.
Yes. So I think
I think East
Further.
Providence is asking for 6.
for the state shows that we really worked hard to get where we are, and to have a minimal tax increase being in that position, I think is kudos to everybody that worked so hard.
And I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I think I asked Mom, how is Providence going about not raising taxes, not raising taxes, not raising taxes? I think it came back to bite them now at 8%. And one thing I know I've talked to with my constituents is they would rather see little bits than big bites. So, and again, I fully support you on that. I understand why and your thoughts on it, and I think we all have those same thoughts, but on the financial side, I think I don't want to be sitting here in 3 years saying our surplus is now 100,000, 50,000, because I was sitting here, and that's a real bad feeling.
Yeah.
And then I guarantee Mark will be on the block, Chris will be on the block, we'll all be on the block with the voters. So it's very, we do have to do what's right for the town also.
The Office of the Auditor General actually recommends that communities have a 17% surplus ratio, so we fall woefully short of that.
So what would that number be?
2%, 125 million.
It's actually the general fund. No, it's not, it's separate. The schools are
Because
a
the
little
schools are in there
separate.
too.
Yes.
Yeah. Because the school has their money and we have ours, so I think ours is what, 52 million?
But you have other financing numbers in there too, that's
Yeah.
based on, so, yeah.
Stevie and so that.
So
The municipal-
at a minimum, you would think that would mean at least double it. So from our, this was at 6, it was at 7 because of the million that Jason talked about. So
At least double it, yeah.
yeah, at least double it.
Yep.
So they would think that we should have somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 million plus dollars in surplus to be in good stead.
With that being said, we can expect less of a surplus this year because of the way we manipulated these numbers.
Hate that word manipulated.
I do, but
Yes.
truth hurts, we manipulated the numbers to get this number where it is, and you know, we won't be adding to the surplus as much as we have in the past few years, unless something comes our way.
Lecture rate hits 99, and I actually know, was it 2 years ago, a neighboring community, they called for collection rate 99.9%.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's how they fixed their budget, 99.9% collection rate. That means nobody's late.
I think it's important that we look to our fellow municipalities and try to learn from the tough times and the mistakes that they're going through right now. And make sure that we don't put ourselves in that position. And I think we're doing that with this budget. You know, 1.73, in the beginning of this process, for me, it was about a number, then it didn't become about a number. But a 1.73 really is remarkable, I'll say that, when you consider the costs of service, it just increases year after year. And we want to make sure, it's that fine line that's already been talked about. We want to make sure that we're providing good, efficient, safe services for our residents without breaking the bank and without doing something that's uncalled for. And I think we're at that point. I think we're doing a good job with that. It doesn't mean that we're out of the woods and we're clear of any danger, but you know, it's nice to have a bit of a surplus. I understand Jay's sentiments, but you know, I think as long as we stay the course, then we should be okay.
And we do know we have some big decisions coming down the road if we're talking about school improvements and things like that. So, again, and we also know that we approved raises in contracts, which we needed to do and should do. People deserve to have raises. They have similar situations. And to have tax increase actually come in at less than what we've given people means that people have done a real good job in managing their budgets. So.
Yeah, and I think it should be noted for those that are just seeing this for the first time that a lot of these departments have put themselves in a position to feel some pain this year.
Mhm.
It's not as if they're getting every wish and everything that they want. So, you know,
You might say they're not getting any wish if you look at the
Yeah.
heads going like this, yes.
Because all that capital was erased.
Yes, so,
right.
And again, you look, and I gotta say, you look at our police department, our fire department, our DPW. We have a lot of good vehicles out there, over the years, the department heads have done a great job working with grants, working with detail money, whatever it is to make things happen. And we continue to do that. And I commend everybody who's been trying, and, you know, and this is the toughest time of year probably as a council person, you know, get through the budget because this year it's on us. We made a decision, right? But secondly, we have to make those tough decisions. And sometimes, like, you're talking about people's livelihoods when you're talking, let's cut positions and whatever else. And even though you're talking about a position, there's a person there. And sometimes that person does take it to heart, and rightfully so. I mean, we went through it with the school department, we went through it here with a couple of employees that thought, if we cut positions, this is what's gonna happen, and they look at that, you know, and not saying it's never gonna happen, but this year we were able to make it work, so. Good job again, everybody. Thank you for everything. Any public comment?
Who'd
Good
you pick?
evening. I-
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you. I apologize for being a little late. I just want to thank the council for your consideration of the school department this year. I know it was a big ask this year. And I appreciate all the time you gave for me to present all of the challenges we face and your understanding for that. So just wanted to express my gratitude. Thank you.
I just want to say that was probably the most informative budget we've seen in many years. In detail,
Great.
when you're talking about DC, we got a lot of
Mm.
intimate details that we've never really done before, and, you know, you did a great job with that this year.
Oh,
So
thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank
You're
you.
coming up here asking for 0%, I know it's pretty easy to present, but this year you were asking, you were very intimate about the stuff that you were looking for, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
Oh, thank you.
All right, with that being said, any other public comment?
Next
Nope.
one? No,
So
we can wait.
we all voted on that, we're on letter H.
Vote on the adoption of the final budget for fiscal year 2026, July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026 for the Civic Center Enterprise Fund in the amount of $790,186.
Move the resolution.
Second.
I think we should give it $790. Any comments? Again, it's level funded, 0 to 0. Any public comment? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Jay?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Mary Beth?
Yes.
And I vote. One last time, any public comment? Hearing none,
Motion adjourned.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.